Alrighty, welcome everyone back to another live stream here on the channel. Just let me know real quick if you can hear me. I did not do a mic check like I normally do before stream. Kind of snuck up on me. Really didn't expect it to be 6 o'clock already. But let's see what we have here in the chat. Let's see, I'll start from the top. So we have Critty, let's see, Nathan. I'm not sure how to say your name. I don't know how to say that person's name. Let me see here. Willis or Wills, Howard, let's see, Riley, Legacy, Peyton, Jake, Godzilla. Go down a little bit more here. Pez, sadly. Peyton. I'm going to go down further because I need to see. Okay, Mike is working. That's good to know. All right, so yeah, welcome everyone else who's also in the chat who I may have forgotten. Welcome Proxy, Storm Dakota, Weather Warrior, T, everybody else. Glad to see you in here. Alrighty, let's go ahead and switch on over to our main scene. I'm just going to give everything a quick double check real quick. We are good to go. Everything looks correct, I think. Yeah, everything looks correct. So yeah, we're back here once again to discuss some model data, give you the latest on what is still Tropical Storm Melissa out here in the Central Caribbean. Really not a whole lot has really changed. The only thing I would say that has changed the most is it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting a very, very high ceiling out of this storm. Thankfully, it seems like something like a repeat of Wilma is not going to happen. Like we were kind of mentioning the potential, the highest in scenario is something right near level with Wilma. That doesn't seem likely or even really a possibility anymore. But that's not necessarily a good thing, because if that was the case, this hurricane would be well out in the Western Caribbean away from most people. This doesn't seem like the ceiling's near Wilma anymore because it's going to be near land. It's going to probably end up being very close to, if not end up making landfall right over Jamaica, and then immediately going back up into probably central to southeastern Cuba. So I do still think a Category 5 hurricane is very much on the table with this, but the ceiling I don't believe is anything higher than 165 at the moment. I really don't see that happening. We would really need, in order to get 165 plus mile per hour sustained winds, Melissa, would have to be somewhere out in this portion of the Caribbean, the Western Caribbean, southwest of Jamaica, south of the Cayman Islands. And that doesn't seem likely anymore. Yesterday, we had quite a lot of ensembles in that area. We had both the HAFSA and B in that area. And now everything has kind of shifted slightly off to the northeast. I won't say very far northeast, but most of our guidance has shifted up to about up in here, which is a pretty good shift. Now, the big thing is things could still shift back west, but with time, obviously, that's becoming less and less likely as this storm continues to track more off to the north. But all right, let's take a quick look at what it looks like right now. I'm going to go back just a little bit on satellite imagery here. Just before the sun set out here in the Caribbean, so that's about 2 hours ago is when we last had a visible satellite on it, and really still quite disorganized. We'll switch on over to infrared satellite here for the latest satellite imagery, and you can see generally where the center circulation is located. It's located generally somewhere out in here. Somewhere in here is that central low pressure. It's still not completely vertically stacked, but it is getting better organized and better stacked. You could see some more convection, some northern hot towers and some southern hot towers, but the low pressure isn't in the middle. If it was in the dead middle here, we'd be talking about entering a rapid intensification phase over the next 24 hours beginning now. But that center is actually lopsided still back up to the northwest side of that convection, so it's not completely in alignment. It's not completely a perfect pancake stacked layer at the moment. So short-term intensification in the next 48 hours appears very unlikely, but after 48 hours, once we hit probably Saturday afternoon is what I'm thinking, maybe going into Saturday night, that's when we're going to really start picking up steam, and this thing's going to go from a tropical storm to probably Cat 4 in the matter of anywhere between 16 to 24 hours. Likely going to have very rapid intensification out of this storm, because it is still in the very much untapped Caribbean waters, but it's not in the absolute perfect condition, which is the southwestern Caribbean, away from any type of wind shear and in the most prime waters. Y'all are saying peak is 180, 190. Yesterday, like the peak I was thinking for this, a reasonable peak, I was thinking 180. Now I say 165 is probably a reasonable peak. Based off of what we're seeing. Now, we still have, looking at tropical tidbits here, we still do have some pretty aggressive hurricane models. HAFSB is one of those. And you can see that drops it down to a devastating 915 millibar. That very well could be close to the 175 mile per hour peak that Sam was mentioning right there. And if we go and take a look here, this is just an estimate. These typically are wrong. This says about a 150 knot category 5. So if I'm not mistaken, that's about 165, right? Should be very close to one. Oh, actually, that's 175. My bad. So actually, that is, yeah, in that case, that would be exactly what Sam's talking about there. That's probably our absolute peak, in my opinion. I think that's like the worst case scenario absolute peak is 175. The reasonable peak is what I said, 160, 165, I think is a reasonable peak. If we go back over to the HAFSA here, you can see that has a similar scenario, but I didn't see those two frames. I didn't see these two frames where it goes down to 918 there. Yeah, that's right on the doorstep, 165 to 175, right around there. But you could see it does keep it right around 930 millibars. So that would be much closer to that low end category 5 status, 160, 165 tops with this particular model right here. But I don't think these models are fully... I don't think they have a full hold just yet on what the system's going to do. I think the HAFSA and B, both of them, are too far northeast, and I think the HMON is a little bit more realistic with how far south it is initially, but then it takes the system more north, which makes it more unrealistic. So I really don't think any of these hurricane models have a good hold on it. Yesterday, the HAFSB was, in my opinion, from yesterday, that looked like it had a good hold on things, and I was really agreeing with that. If we go back to the 12Z from yesterday, where it had a near like 900 millibar hurricane right around here, and then it would start turning northeast. Now, I didn't agree with the 884 millibar part, but I did agree with how far south and west it was from Jamaica, and we since trended all the way up. Look at that change, by the way. Look at that change. That change is insane. We go from a hurricane probably 100 miles southwest of Jamaica to a Cat 5 stalling over southeastern Jamaica on this model run, which is an absolute insane shift in the model runs. And I think we will see something like that again. I don't expect this to be the outcome of Melissa. And I kind of feel like the European model run is doing pretty well with this, believe it or not. Really, the European model run just has the center kind of going all over the place for the next 48 hours. And you could see all the way, here we are 48 hours in advance, Saturday afternoon, and we're still at low-end tropical storm status here. Wind speeds probably no greater than about 55, 60 miles per hour at this point, which is getting towards the mid to upper tier tropical storm status. And then finally going into Sunday morning, you get towards that category 1 strength. And then Sunday afternoon, Cat 2, Monday, Cat 3, and then going into Monday night, category 4 hurricane. I think the Euro model run is a pretty reasonable scenario with that, but I still don't think it is the actual outcome, the most likely outcome here of Melissa. I feel like something in between the European model run and the HAFSA, I think it is. Or maybe it was HAFSB, whichever one has it further. Let's see. Yeah, HAFSB. Somewhere between the HAFSB and the European model run. So if I go back over here, this is cone of uncertainty here. The HAFSB kind of wants a scenario. I'll draw that in pink because it's the higher end scenario. It wants something kind of like this. Right, it wants something like that to where it starts to stall out over southeastern Jamaica. And the European model one is kind of the less aggressive solution here, keeping it like down in here and then recurving it, a little bit sharper than that, down in here and then recurving it back up into Jamaica and then back into Cuba. And I feel like something in between that is the most likely case scenario. The NHC, I feel like they are too far west on their pinpoint forecast here. I feel like that category 4 icon there on Tuesday is a little bit further west. So I feel like something in between those two scenarios is our most likely scenario at this point. One that is not so far east to where we see a stalling out Cat 4, and not one that is so far west to the point where it's like a category, a high-end scenario, like a 175, 180 mile per hour category 5 or anything like that. I want to show the ensembles because I feel like that is a really good idea and gives you a really good picture of what we could see here going over Jamaica. Zoom this all the way in. So this is using the Google AI ensembles. And you can see how many of these. This is going into, get this, Monday afternoon. And notice, there is not a single ensemble that agrees with the HMON, the HWARF, or the HAFSA. And none of them have it going in, or the GFS. None of them have it going anywhere close to Haiti, close to Cuba, or into northeastern Jamaica by the time we get into Monday. All of our ensembles, all of them are south of Jamaica. All of them are south of Jamaica. There may be like 2 of them or maybe 3 that are like right on the edge of Jamaica, like the HAFSB model run later on in the run. But most of them are right on the edge. And then by the time we go into Tuesday afternoon, that's when your turn is really expected to happen. Sometime between Monday afternoon and Tuesday afternoon, we should start seeing a sharper northeastern turn here. And I want you to acknowledge something insane. Every single ensemble is high-end Cat 4 or Cat 5. I don't think there is a single ensemble below Category 4 status here. They are all, I mean, 914, 921, 940. All of them are at one point Category high-end Cat 4 or Category 5 status. Every single ensemble. There might be like one mixed in there. I just saw that. There might be one in here that might not be 937. I mean, that's probably, you know, that's definitely high in Cat 4, maybe Cat 5. So, I mean, every single one, from what I can tell, is Cat 4 or Cat 5. All of them. And the last time I've seen that in the Caribbean, I couldn't even tell you. I could not even tell you the last time I saw that in the Caribbean. Probably, I don't know if I've ever seen that in the Caribbean, actually, where every single ensemble shows a Category 4 or a Category 5. Like, really, this is something you only see in the Western Pacific. I saw this with, oh, I forgot the typhoon's name, but it became a monster Category 5 typhoon earlier this year. And I mean, that agreement is just so high on really a destructive scenario. These, I feel like, are too far west. I want to point this out real quick, too. These are too far west. These are too far east. So I really think a most likely case scenario is something like the European model run, where it goes like this. I think that's kind of our most likely case scenario. A little bit more northeast than the European model run, because the European model run is very far south. So a little bit more northeast. Yes, Regassa, if that's how you say it. Regassa. I forgot how you say it. I remember I learned the pronunciation of that back when we were talking about it, but it's been a while. It has been a while. So yeah, let me go ahead and pull this out further here. And I want to zoom this out a bit, so we're going to have to zoom back in. Go back to the North America view, and I want to zoom this in on more of a kind of a wider view. More zoomed in than what we were at, but more zoomed out than what we were looking at for Jamaica there. Because I also want to show you, actually, let's go even further out here. Let's see, North America. Yeah, there we go. That should do it. I want to show you the very tight spread, the shockingly tight spread of a Category 3 or Category 4 hurricane going right, really close to Bermuda. If not, yeah, very close to Bermuda, just west of Bermuda, in between Bermuda right here and pretty well east of North Carolina. And the reason why I point this out is because this is very good agreement. A very good agreement of a Category 4 and then weakening into Category 3 and then probably going into Cat 2, Cat 1, and then eventually an extratropical storm there. This means that the eastern U.S. is probably going to feel some rip currents going into the later portion of next week. So about a week out from now, right about a week out from now. So I want to keep that on the table here, because the U.S. is probably going to feel a lot of rip current impacts out of this system. I want to go to other ensembles here, like the European ensembles, because I haven't gotten a chance to look at those today. Not the 12Z at least. And you can see pretty good agreement there as well. That looks like pretty good agreement between east of North Carolina and probably west of Bermuda. That looks to be where most of your ensembles are. Now, I know a few model runs have Sandy 2.0 occurring up there in the Northeast, but honestly, that is a very low scenario. Anytime we get a possibility like that, almost always there's a trough or something that ends up blocking it and pushing it back out to sea. So I'm not really keeping that on the table, in my opinion. I don't really think that's going to be a possibility. I think we're going to see, like I said, in between a European and a HAFSA solution, where this goes just to the south of Jamaica and then curves back into western Jamaica, goes into eastern Cuba, and then goes somewhere in between Bermuda, North Carolina, and then goes out to sea from there. And I do also believe it will be Category 5 intensity, either on approach to Jamaica, just south of Jamaica, or potentially even landfalling on Jamaica as a Category 5 hurricane. I think both of those are very real scenarios. Either way, I think this will be Category 5. That's really what I'm expecting. Now, the GFS ensembles, I really don't even know why I'm looking at this, because I've considered it an outlier ever since 3 days ago, and I'm still doing such. Really, these are all over the place. Honestly, the GFS ensembles have had the worst agreement in a while. Like, really, the GFS ensembles and the GFS model run it's not been this bad in a hot minute. It's been doing really, really, really bad with Melissa. So, honestly, GFS ensembles and the GFS model, at this point, it's in the trash can. Right now, I just really feel like it's in the trash can. I don't really care what they're saying, because I'm not going to really listen to them. I'm really listening to the Google ensembles, because those have been the best when we're talking about high-end systems, and also the European ensembles. Especially the European ensembles. Really, both of them are really good. I don't even know which one's better, because the European ensembles, I agree with the European model run, and obviously the ensembles are very close to the deterministic run. It's just like multiple different runs, and then the Google AI has also been really good too. All right, so how are we doing in chat? How's everybody's day going? I just wanted to kind of get a brief thoughts of what I was thinking about the system out there in the first 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes of the stream. So yeah, now I'll look at chat here. Charles, thank you for the $1 donation. I appreciate it. Peak is 150. I don't believe. Peak is 145 from the National Hurricane Center, but yeah, really anywhere between 145 and like 165 is a very reasonable peak. Anything lower than 145 is probably unrealistic, and anything higher than 165 is really pushing it. Had school today and it was okay. Yep, that's school. A lot of days not horrible, but definitely not great. That's just school. Good morning, just woke up. Okay, Lucky 2.0. What are you doing, Caleb? I hate to say this, but if Jamaica doesn't evacuate with a Cat 5 making landfall, we might see a death toll similar to Maria. That is something that is very, very important to reiterate. Is Jamaica, if you are able to evacuate from Jamaica, you need to do so immediately. I really, really advise it, because the only way Jamaica doesn't see catastrophic impacts is with a scenario like maybe the H Wharf, I think it was. Yeah, this is like the 1 in a 100 scenario where Jamaica would not see catastrophic impacts, where it goes closer to Haiti than Jamaica. But even then, like the northern side and the northeastern side would probably still see catastrophic rainfall totals. Yeah, especially the eastern side there. So really, if anybody is in Jamaica and you are able to, I know a lot of people aren't able to, but if you are able to, I recommend evacuating. There's not going to be a lot of time to evacuate once we get into this weekend. So it's Thursday. Once we get into probably Friday night, like literally tomorrow night, that's probably your last chance to evacuate at this point. Unless it's gonna, I mean, it would be risky to have anybody flying out later than that. These models are way too far east. Yeah, and these are way too quick as well. These models, I don't know what it is with the H-Wharf and the H-Mon, but they are always initiating further east for at least the last couple runs. Okay, now the H-Mon is that's gotten a little bit better. That's initialized a little bit better than when I last saw it. Was it 06Z that was really bad? Maybe it was last night's run. I know one of these. Yeah, it was last night's run. This is the one that was really, really far east, and I disagreed with. So the 06Z and the 12Z is a more realistic scenario. Lagging. Mm, I don't see any noticeable lag on my end. It all looks smooth. Looks smooth to me. What is what? What does Lucky want? What? How's bro calling me? My camera? I don't think so. Wouldn't it surprise me though? It might just be loose. If my camera's a bit delayed, that's okay. I can fix that easily by just unplugging it, plugging it back in. And also the wire on the back seems to get loose sometimes. Now, if it's loose, that's like literally the whole camera glitches and I turn into just a bunch of colors. I don't know. It was, I think last year when we were covering a severe weather event, my camera just completely glitched out like crazy and colors went everywhere. Let's see. Yeah, also, didn't even realize this till just now. The NHC, they have Melissa not even strengthening for like a full day. Literally a full day. They don't even have it strengthening. That's unlikely. If it's southwest of Jamaica like that, it's gonna strengthen. It's gonna strengthen if it's southwest of Jamaica. Now, if it is on top of Jamaica like this, if it does something like that, yeah, it's probably not gonna strengthen much. I'm gonna go read their discussion. National Hurricane Center discussion. Let's see. It will likely take at least 24 hours for the storm's tilt to favor intensification inside the favorable environment. Let's see. The NHC forecast will follow suit, showing rapid intensification from 36 to 72 hours, intensifying Melissa from a tropical storm to a Category 4 hurricane in this time frame. Remarkably, this is on the lower end of hurricane regional model guidance, and is in the best agreement, which has plenty of members substantially stronger than the current National Hurricane Center peak of 145 mile per hour sustained. Over this forecast period, the tropical cyclone is expected to grow substantially in size, and it will likely become a large and very dangerous hurricane towards the end of the forecast period. Yeah. So this is like the most likely and even still very conservative scenario that they've depicted here. Let's see. Melissa's storm structure has been degraded once again this afternoon, with the lower level circulation still yet to be aligned with the mid-level circulation, and it is partially exposed on the western side of the deepest convection. This structure is consistent with a tropical cyclone that is continuing to exhibit significant tilt with height and down shear direction. Just going to skim through all this because they go so in depth. Melissa is continuing to be a very slow-moving tropical storm, with the initial motion likely being about 2 knots to the north-northwest. The tropical storm's very slow motion over the last day or so is related to it being caught between 2 mid-level ridges, one on the eastern Caribbean, one over, let's see, one just northwest of Mexico, which I think that's referring to like somewhere up in here. Somewhere up in here. We have 2 high pressures. Overall steering is going to influence the system minimally. I'm just skimming through it, which is why some of the stuff I'm saying might not make sense. Because it's going to take like literally 10 minutes to read through this whole thing. So I'm just trying to get like the key messages of it. One notable change from this morning is that the 12 Zigu will deep mine Ensemble mean, which was previously northeast of the track guidance, has abruptly switched and shifted to the southwest side of the Envelope? Envelope. Okay. Now very close to the latest 12Z European forecast. So basically they're pushing away from scenarios like the H-Mond, the H-Wharf specifically, and the GFS and the GFS ensembles. They're listening more to what I was talking about, the European and the Google AI ensembles. Very close. Let's see. In contrast, both the 12Z, HAFS-A, and B regional hurricane models have shifted their tracks further off to the north-northeast, related to an overnight center reformation. All these shuffling guidances tracks highlight the high uncertainty in overall track forecast, and the latest National Hurricane Center track was only slightly pushed southward from this morning, blending more reliable guidance, specifically the Google DeepMind ensembles. This forecast track takes Melissa barely south of Jamaica between 60 and 96 hours, though it is worth noting that there is a lot of guidance that moves it near or over Jamaica in earlier forecast guidance. So pretty much just reiterating what we've been talking about. Nothing too out of the ordinary here, but definitely want to be leaning more on that European and AI Google ensembles. Yeah, obviously, storm surge, heavy rainfall, damaging winds appears to be an increasing risk. Yeah. About really what you'd expect. So the HMOND, yeah, well, the next 24 hours are very, very crucial for this system. The next 24 to 48 hours are very crucial. The HMON definitely agrees with a more slowly moving system. Yeah, because the NHC says 2 a.m. on the 26th, which is on this frame. So the HMON is really slow compared to the National Hurricane Center's guidance at that time. And I bet the H-Wharf is probably going to be way too quick. 2 a.m. on the 26th, yeah. Yep. The NHC believes it's going to be here. H-Wharf thinks up here. Big difference there. That's got to be at least 100 miles, right? Minimum. Yeah, 120 miles there. I know we're tracking some severe weather today. If you need a severe weather update, you could go to the Storm Prediction Center / your local National Weather Service. You could also follow me on Twitter. I've already given 3 different updates on Twitter about the severe weather situation of the next couple days. I will dive a little bit into severe weather, but I'm really more focused on this hurricane over the next few days. There's probably going to end up being a couple tornadoes, specifically tomorrow and Saturday, but really my schedule is going to be revolved around this hurricane. It's really going to be all about this hurricane, because this has the potential to be the worst hurricane that Jamaica's ever seen. So I like the pink text on the bottom. Thank you. I was debating on whether to put that as green in resemblance of a tropical storm or pink in resemblance of a Category 4 hurricane being expected. That's probably going to turn purple on one of the next upcoming streams. No, what people are saying about the retirement of Melissa is Melissa being such a destructive and deadly hurricane hitting Jamaica that the name gets retired and is never used again. So retired names are like Ian, Katrina, Michael. Those are retired names. Really, really devastating hurricanes that are so bad that the name is resemblance of just a very destructive event. So the NHC doesn't want to use it ever again. Yeah, I'll show satellite again here for those who haven't seen. This is the latest satellite imagery for Melissa. It looks pretty well organized, doesn't it? You see good hot towers on both the northern and southern side of the system. And at first glance, you're thinking, okay, low pressure's right here. We're about to get into probably a rapid intensification phase. Nope, definitely not the case. Your low pressure is off-centered somewhere way out over here, southwest of the strongest convection. And your mid-level surface low is probably under this convection. So you have your surface low pressure, which is what the NHC goes off of, is somewhere in here. And your mid-level is probably somewhere up in here. So that's going to be battling in this area for the next 24 to 48 hours until eventually they realign somewhere, and then wherever that track may go, whether it be more north or more west. But those two, the mid-level and lower-level low pressures, are going to be fighting to realign. Are Milton and Melissa related? Definitely completely different basins with different background environments. But if we're talking peak intensity, I feel like Melissa still has a chance to make a run for Milton strength. But it would definitely have to be on the southern side of guidance. I don't think we're going to be seeing a 180 mile per hour hurricane up in this area, up in here. It would definitely have to be the substantially more to the southwest guidance, which is becoming less and less likely by the runs. Pretty much every run that comes in shows that as a less and less likely scenario. Let's see. Let's go over to here. So that's the European ensemble guidance. So it would have to be like these tracks in here. These would have to be the tracks that end up giving a higher intensity guidance than 165 plus. So if we're looking for like a historic strength hurricane, it would have to be in this portion of the Caribbean. Which I do think Melissa is going to track up in here. But by the time it does, it will probably be on either a maintaining or weakening trend. So basically, if it goes like this, that's where we're looking at a very intense hurricane, potentially 165 plus. But the most likely case scenario is it continues off to the northeast, and then kind of shifts off to the west, south of Jamaica, or very close to Jamaica, and then shifts into Jamaica, and then goes up into Cuba, probably still hitting, I'd have to imagine, Category 5 status south of Jamaica, possibly even a Category 5 landfall. Did I say different basins? My bad. Yeah, this is the Atlantic, the Caribbean, the Gulf, the Northern Atlantic. They're all the same Atlantic basin. Different basin is like the Atlantic and the Pacific. Those are basins. Yeah, but the main reason why I'm saying further off to the west-southwest is this is where the better environment is. This is where wind shear is literally near to zero going into this weekend, and also where the environment is like pretty much perfect. A little bit more off to the northeast, closer to Jamaica, you have a little bit less ocean heat content, and you also have a very slight increase in wind shear. And I mean just a slight increase, but those tiny little things, a little less deeper, favorable hot waters, and a little less wind shear. That's just the small things you're going to have to look at when talking about very high-end hurricanes. But either way, I really don't see this not being a Category 5 at some point. I really don't see it not being Cat 5. The only reason I don't think the NHC is calling for a Cat 5 right now is because it's very uncertain where. We could have a Category 5 as soon as literally Sunday morning east of Jamaica. We could have a Cat 5 as soon as Sunday morning, or we could have it as late as Tuesday west of Jamaica. So, like, two completely different scenarios and completely different time frames. Let's see here. 3 Cat 5s in one season? Yeah, probably 2005. It would probably have to be 2005. This would be, if this becomes Cat 5, this would be what, our fourth, right? I'm pretty sure this would be 4. I can't even remember how many Cat 5s we've had. That's how crazy it's been. That is how crazy it's been this year. I know for sure Umberto was Cat 5. I'm gonna have to go look. I'm gonna go look. This would either be 3 or 4. I know for sure we're at least at 2. Oh, Aaron. Duh. How could I forget Aaron? Aaron Umberto. Yeah, 2 Cat 5s right now. So this would be number 3. Yeah, I think this is going to end up being Cat 5 at some point. I can't say exactly where, because that's very difficult to pinpoint. The thumbnail was based off the NHC's cone, so if you just keep it going like up here and then take the most likely direction of where it's going to go, it would end up being a Cat 5 somewhere in here Tuesday or Wednesday. But again, it could be Cat 5 as soon as Sunday morning out over here. Or it could be Category 5 on Monday south of Jamaica. So somewhere in here, this thing will probably be a Cat 5. Somewhere in there. That's a large area. But again, here's the most reliable ensembles, which is the Google AI ensembles. I'll just bring this back. And once again, I think pretty much every single one of these 50 members all have Category 4, high-end Category 4 or Cat 5. That member just completely stalls it. Look at that. It just doesn't move at all for 6+ hours right there on that member. Could you imagine that? Cat 5 just stalling out. But yeah, I know for sure this system is going to be slow moving. And really, regardless of where it goes, that's what's the biggest issue. That's really the big issue, because it's going to turn eventually, and as it turns, that's going to be when it's slowest. As it's moving west and about to turn, that's when it will be very, very slow. Now, obviously, right now, it's at its absolute slowest, 1 to 2 miles per hour, but in terms of it being a hurricane, it's going to be slowest as it's starting to take that turn, right in here. It's going to be slow, really, across this whole journey. It's probably not going to be much faster than about, like, 10 miles per hour. I imagine it won't get faster than that until it starts aiming towards Cuba, and then it should pick up speed a lot quicker. Which, if I go over here to the HAFSB, this shows one of the worst case scenarios, which is literally that turn happening right over Jamaica. And so this thing practically stalls for hours. I mean, you're not moving much quicker than 1 to 2 miles per hour for almost a full day. Look at that. 12Z, so that's about 8 a.m. Monday morning. And then still 03Z Tuesday, very late Monday, technically into Tuesday morning there. And I mean, you really haven't moved much at all. So from Monday morning all the way to very early Tuesday morning, it moves that much. Because it goes like this. And then it finally starts to turn. But the further south this is going to go, likely the slightly quicker it will be. Now, it's not going to be like a crazy change. If it goes really far north, it's not going to fully stall. And if it goes very far south, it's not going to be moving at 50 miles an hour. It's not that type of system. But like the further south... Ooh, we're getting new hurricane models here. The further south it goes, the better chance it has to move quicker. Like the European model, but still, even this far southwest, it still stalls out and then has a devastating Category 5 hit on Jamaica. Very devastating Tuesday afternoon. I mean, it still stalls out on the European model run here. Barely moves Monday morning all the way till about very early, very, very early Tuesday morning. Barely moves at all. And then y'all want to see the... I haven't even showed it yet. Let me show you the GFS. This thing's funny at this point. It's gotten a little bit further west, but it still says it's right into Haiti. Can I show you it on here? Yep. Yep, there's the GFS right there. Yeah. The GFS is like that one outlier that's so far away from... Like, look at the difference in those tracks. Like 50 miles. 50 miles between the next closest one. It's not even close. And you can see there's still a few that take this right into Jamaica substantially quicker. And then there is the scenario that the NHC is thinking is most likely, which is right in here. I doubt it goes that far west. I doubt the UK model is right, and I doubt this pink one is right either. I think we've got two main scenarios on the table here. Major hurricane Category 4, potentially even borderline Category 5, slamming directly into Jamaica, maybe Sunday night, Monday morning. Definitely early, late weekend, early next week, stalls out over Jamaica, and then moves up to the northeast into Cuba. And then another likely scenario is it stays south of Jamaica, still becomes Category 5, and then it slams into western Jamaica, or stays just offshore of western Jamaica as a Category 5. Less likely to stall in this scenario here, but still very much devastating. And then the absolute least likely scenario is a very far western movement to where this system would be very close to something like what... it would definitely be very much high-end. Very, very high-end. Something like what we saw to the HAFSB run put out yesterday. And then also very, very unlikely is a far eastward shift too. So very unlikely over here. Very unlikely over here. So we've really nailed down kind of right... Jamaica's right dead center of the crosshair. Like if you draw the dead center of what I just drew here, that would take it like right into Jamaica and then back up into Cuba. That's like your most likely, absolute most likely scenario. Right in between. And again, I mean, many of these are going to at least slow it substantially down right here. Maybe not a stall, but substantially slower. And then these would probably completely stall it. Matter of fact, you could actually see a couple of these where it fully stalls. And then that trough finally picks it up and it starts that northeast movement again. Also, eastern Cuba likely going to see significant to catastrophic impacts from this. Will it reach a peak of 878 millibar, 230 mile per hour? I wouldn't fully rule it out. I mean, if it does go like well southwest of Jamaica, and if it goes out over here, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. Why does Spider Omega not have frost advisory? It probably does. You're just blind. By the way, I'm just kidding. That's not in the realm of possibilities anymore. 230 mile per hour was never in the realm of possibility. Look. Weather alerts. Winter. What did you say? Frost advisories. Extreme cold. I'm not seeing it. We're gonna go non-precipitation. No, I don't think you're completely wrong. Now I got another question. Hold on. For once, Caleb might be right about something. Just switch to Weatherwise. Weatherwise has it. So, like, just stop using Radar Omega. I don't know what to tell you. Only reason why I'm using it is simply because it's kind of an easier access for everything with satellite, NHC cone, and Recon all at once. But I still hate the UI. It's just when you're focused on one thing, it's a bit easier. Caleb is never wrong about anything. Ben, I'm afraid you have been blindsided. So yeah, the official National Hurricane Center cone. That's definitely on the conservative side of intensity forecast. But really, like, you don't want to pull the trigger of saying it's expected to be category 5 until you figure out exactly where it's gonna go. Because like I said, this thing could still go like up to the north and then kind of curve into Jamaica and then back up into closer to Cuba and hit category 5 status here. Or it could go further to the southwest and take a more western trajectory, which is still possible but unlikely, and hit category 5 strength in here. Or it could go in between, like what the NHC is forecasting, and be a very near miss or landfall over Jamaica and hit category 5 right in here. So you don't know where. I think it's going to hit Cat 5 eventually, but exactly where, I don't know. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it's going to be, like, out over here. Hits Cat 5 way down here on the edge of the cone, away from Jamaica completely, but honestly, it's looking more likely that it will be very close to, if not just before landfall over Jamaica. I wish this had something different than the GFS ensembles on this track guidance. Because, like, if you look at the GFS ensembles, 983 millibar. If this thing peaks at 983 millibar west of Jamaica, I have completely failed as a forecaster. Because, like, I don't see a way how the forecast is that low. Like, at all. I think this will be 983 millibar probably Sunday. It will probably be Cat 2 on Sunday, maybe even earlier. Yeah, literally. Like, that's about 48 hours from now. So that's literally like Saturday. Yeah, that's Saturday. It will probably be about 984, was that? 983 either Saturday or Sunday. I would be blown away if that's its peak. Now, I wouldn't be blown away if it goes west of Jamaica, but talking about peak-wise here, I would be blown away if it peaks at only a 983 millibar somewhere around Jamaica. What is peak intensity going to be? What do I look like, God or something? I can't tell you. I could give you an estimate, but I ain't gonna be able to tell you what it's going to be. The estimate is high in Cat 4, low in Cat 5. Somewhere around there. Somewhere probably between 145 mile per hour sustain and 165 mile per hour sustain. Somewhere between there looks to be the most probable peak intensity. Dude, that's crazy. Let me go back over to here again. Yeah, so like all of these ensembles, like I said, I really don't think a single one has the peak being anything lower than a high-end Cat 4. So like I said, I think the peak intensity is somewhere between 145 mile per hour and 165 mile per hour. Now, again, exactly where that's going to happen, I couldn't tell you. I think the most likely is probably south or west of Jamaica, just before it makes landfall or closest to landfall. Somewhere around there is probably the most likely of where. But again, there's still a scenario that it peaks at Cat 5, like east of Jamaica, but yeah, we'll have to see where these shift, because you could see the substantial, and when I mean substantial, I mean holy crap, the whole forecast changed between 06Z and 12Z. So you could see how earlier this morning guidance got smaller, and then 12Z it got a little larger but shifted off to the southwest. And then I don't think we have 18Z, and no 18Z yet. Every pink line you see here is greater than a Category 3 hurricane. But I'm looking at the millibar. Typically, a millibar around like 940 to 935, that's going to be a high-end Cat 4 or a low-end Category 5. And you could see 922, 922, 923, 928, 929, 925. Go back a bit, 930, 925, 927, 922, 902. Most of those are at or lower than 940. 936 right there on that one, 931. So literally like every single one is at or below 940, which is again that's a high in Cat 4 or low in Cat 5. Now again, a specific millibar doesn't directly correlate to wind speed, so that's why I'm taking that guess of a 5 millibar difference. A 940 millibar hurricane could be Category 5. It all comes down to the wind speeds that the NHC believes is ongoing in there, or that they've observed through Recon. Fingers crossed we get Recon in this thing. I can change what highlight color you mean. Like the text at the bottom, I can change that color whenever. We could easily have Recon in this now, but I really hope we get Recon in this thing at peak. Are you lower level or are you upper level? You look lower level. Based on your name, you look lower level. Recon. Yep, you're lower level. Lower level. I could tell just by the Recon's name. Yeah, they're trying to find the center. That's a big one. Trying to figure out where the center is. And you can see here, there's like no winds on the west side at all. And the winds are almost, they're near zero out there, near the center, or on the west side of all this convection here. So the center, I don't think that's where the center is. I think the center is down in here still. So they're probably gonna, I don't know what they're gonna do. They're gonna do some sort of pass. That's all I know. You can kind of estimate where the lower level center is based off of this convection, because you can see the lower level convection in here. It's hard to tell, but you're looking specifically at the greens and the yellows. You can tell that it looks like there's a very, very weak northeasterly winds up here. So it's moving like that. And then obviously these further to the south, they're not really moving much, maybe from the southwest like that. And then this looks like it's moving west. And then really, I don't see much movement at all. This is probably moving up here, but over in this area, I don't really see any movement in like this whole area in here. So that tells me that the circulation is very, very wide and very disorganized. So it's not like a closed low. Like it's not like this. Well, it's a closed low, but it's not a tight closed low that's fully stacked. You probably have a mid-level circulation that's spinning somewhere up in here. And then your lower level circulation spinning somewhere down over in here. It is a closed low at the lower level. But the problem is it's not perfectly vertically stacked. That's the problem. If it was vertically stacked, we'd be seeing intensification much quicker. Yeah, just some ordinary severes over here still. Lightning, 1-inch hail, 60 to 70 mile an hour winds will be the main possibility. Brief tornado can't be ruled out today, but today does not look like a tornado maker. I do think tomorrow we have to watch southwest Texas for the potential of a few tornadoes, possibly even a strong tornado, 3-inch hail and 80 mile an hour winds. Southwest Texas is really the area of interest tomorrow between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. local. But the environment is not very favorable for tornadoes. So main threat will definitely be hail tomorrow, but we could see still a few tornadoes, maybe even a strong tornado. And then Saturday is a complete hit or miss. Either we'll see the chance for multiple tornadoes, even 1 or 2 strong in eastern Texas and a good chunk of Louisiana, or we'll have the chance for a spin-up tornado or 2 in southern Louisiana. It just completely depends on the open warm sector, and there's no way to know what that's going to be like until we wake up Saturday morning and figure out if there's morning convection. Morning convection, very low tornado threat. No morning convection, pretty good tornado threat. All right, so we do get a intermediate advisory here in between 30 minutes to an hour. But just like yesterday, that's just going to be an intermediate advisory, which means it's simply going to be just a position update and wind speed update. Position update and intensity update. I do want to go over to tropical tidbits, though, because we are getting those new hurricane models, and they should be rendering in pretty well by now. Yeah, frame 39 hours out right there. So we'll stay live at least to see a few of these models render in to see if there's any big differences. Man, you guys are very lopsided on the the other side there. I'll switch to another scene once this stuff really starts to render in further. But yeah, your best friend here is probably the Google AI ensembles. That's your best friend. Could the center completely relocate? For sure. For sure. It could completely relocate east, west, or north of where it currently is. That's why the uncertainty is very, very high in the short term. And then because there's so much uncertainty on where it will be in the next 48 hours, that creates a larger spread of uncertainty in the long term as well. Yeah, I'm not really tracking severe weather today. Like if we start getting tornado warnings, I'll switch over to it, but I doubt we'll see many warnings today. And that's a hail threat. That's an outflow dominant storm. There's no velocities. It's probably in a crappy environment. Yep, it is in a horrible environment right now. Is there even any lower level wind shear in that? There's literally no wind shear. Literally no 0 to 1 kilometer SRH. There's literally like barely any 0 to 3 kilometer SRH. There is no spin in the atmosphere. You've got 20 0 to 1 and 80 0 to 3. That is very, very, very low spin in the atmosphere, meaning that there is a very slim chance you get anything remotely tornadic out of that storm. There's like no spin whatsoever. I don't think we're gonna see a tornado threat today. Like I said, I wouldn't rule out a spin up tornado somewhere, but I highly doubt it's gonna be from anytime soon out of that storm. Any tour warnings tomorrow? Tomorrow is gonna be a video, so I won't be covering tomorrow's threat. I'm very busy over the next few days, so like I'm only gonna have a hour or two for the next few days to stream. Now that might change going into like I don't even know really. Today is really like my the only chance I have for a longer stream, but severe weather doesn't warrant that. Yeah, here's a crappy HAFSB still. You know where the center is? So far off to your west. Like the center is southwest of Haiti on this model run, and for some reason it is we're looking is that freaking Puerto Rico? Why are we all the way over at Puerto Rico? That's crazy. Room behind me is a green screen. Bottle of water. Not a green screen. Not a green screen. I can tell you that. We go to the HFSB. Why is that so far north? Why is that so far north? Is this not Cuba? Oh no, that's Haiti. Duh. No, that's Haiti right there. But the center, let me shrink this. That's Haiti right there. And your center is right next to Haiti. Why are you so far north? And east as well. Really far northeast. Like it's looking like a GFS model run right there. All right, let's see what model's the furthest in. Now here's the H Wharf. That does have strengthening tonight, so I think we can rule that one out as garbage, not going to happen. Is the H-Mon in at all? Okay, H-Mon's looking pretty good. No real strengthening until Saturday afternoon. Still might be a little bit too early on strengthening, though. But that seems like it's a trend on some of our models here. On most of our Hurricane models, the H1 has strengthening starting. And by starting, I mean when I start to see these yellows and reds tomorrow night. And the HAFSB, I believe, agrees with that. I wish I could see it, but I can already see on the edge. You guys can't because it's too far. I can see some yellows 21Z Friday. And the H-Wharf, the H-Mon. So it seems like they're in general agreement. Tomorrow night is when we could start seeing intensification here. The HAFSA also very much agrees with that. So we'll have to see. I'm just saying this because Bro's bed is... I'm just saying this because Bro's bed, if perfectly made, every single time, not a single wrinkle. There's literally a wrinkle, like, right there. Right there. You could see it. 1, 2, 3. I had to rush it a bit because I was literally like, it was 5:59. I'm like, dang it, I forgot to make my bed. So I had to rush make that. Normally, I make it, like, early. I make it really early. Like, sometimes 4 or 5 hours early. Unless I'm planning on being, like, out and about, and then I'll just make it when I get up. Like, right away. All of these models are shifting east and northeast. What that means, we'll have to see, because that could still put it on a similar track. Because it could just simply, it could go really far northeast and then swing back due west again. Or it could go so far northeast to where it goes right into Haiti. But we'll have to see when we zoom out more. We don't get the zoomed out ones for a little bit. This might be zoomed out. Nope. But, like, you can definitely tell. Well, if anything, actually, the newer model run is substantially more south here on the H-Wharf. The HAFSA is, like, right at the same spot, barely even changed. The HAFSB, wish we could see. Because, like, that thing's freaking way over here. The center is off the screen entirely. I can't even see the center. I can't even see it at all. So, looks like there's not, like, any crazy changes. Maybe the, was it the H-Mond? Yeah, the H-Mond is probably the biggest change, which has it stronger. This light bulb, it flickers very often, and I've already changed it, like, twice this year. And it was changed about 3 times last year. So it's probably going to go out. It's probably going to go out within the next month or so. I'll probably have to put a new bulb in there. So all those light bulbs that say they last 10 years, give me that light bulb. Because mine last about 4 months. Well, I mean, sometimes that light's on literally 16 hours in one day, so... Like, when we're talking about April and May, that light is on like crazy. Yeah, see, they're turning west. The H-Mon's turning west now. And this is staying, at the moment, south of Jamaica. Southeast of Jamaica here on the H-Mon. The biggest difference is the H-Mon is stronger. Much quicker. The HAFSA... I don't really see much substantial change. A little stronger, but, like, that's not going to matter a crazy bit there. It's only a 3 millibar difference. The HFSB still can't see. Oh, hey, we can see it. Oh, big change on the HAFSB. That's really good because that means we're finally getting some certainty here. Some more agreement on our hurricane models. So the HAFSB just south of Haiti. The H-Wharf well south of Haiti. The H-Mond well south of Haiti. The HAFSA well south of Haiti, but also moving north at that point. This would probably deliver hurricane force wind speeds just to far southwest Haiti there. We ain't got radar in the middle of the Caribbean, sadly. But we could look at satellite here. Which again, it doesn't look that badly organized. We have a weak movement here and very weak movement in here. So we know our center is somewhere in this area, and most likely the lower level center is located on the west side, very lopsided, and the mid-level is probably under all this convection somewhere in here. Let's see here. All right, let me go back over to... So I think H-Wharf is the... Well, I thought that was the fastest. It's H-Mod, my bad. Getting it confused over here. Yeah, H-Mod is the fastest to render. That's at frame 57. H-Wharf is at frame 30. H-Mod is, again, 57. HAFSA, 39. And I think HAFSB is 51. Yep. So H-Mod is the fastest to render in right now. But yeah, if you guys are enjoying the stream, make sure you hit that like button, share the stream with your family, friends, social media. It's really appreciated. Help get the word out about this upcoming hurricane, currently a tropical storm. Yeah, also hit that subscribe button with a notification bell set to all so you know when I go live, which next live stream's planning on it being Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern, video tomorrow between 4 and 5 Eastern. And then Sunday is up in the air because I will probably be at the track most of the day. Let's see here. Any change with Jamaica? A higher likelihood for hurricane impacts and likely catastrophic impacts. We're going to see what these models have to say, but if we take a look at our most accurate ensembles, well over half have a direct landfall of a Category 4 or 5 hurricane over Jamaica. And then another bunch have a very close west pass. So the main right now, the most likely case scenario is a Category 4 or 5 hurricane just south of Jamaica and then turning into Jamaica and then heading up as a Category 4 into Cuba. So we're gonna wait to see the these hurricane models. Now the big thing that I'm noticing right off the bat is the substantial eastward shift here. We'll have to see what that ends up doing. Because really this center, this is Sunday morning, and on the HAFSB, it has the low pressure being right here, and in reality, the NHC thinks it will be substantially more to the southwest, and if we go to the older run, You could see that was still too far north. The NHC thinks it would still be down in here, moving to the northwest, not up here moving to the west. Weatherwise have free satellite? Yes. Sure does. I can switch to that real quick just to show you. Let's see here. Main development region. There you go. I don't pay for Weatherwise yet, but there you go. That's the infrared satellite, and they have many more options too. You have the CO2 long wave infrared layer there. The best infrared is probably the infrared long wave window band 14. That I think is the best infrared on Weatherwise. Also have True Color too, but obviously True Color doesn't work when I'm gonna have to fix that. True Color doesn't work when it's dark. Water vapor has always been one of my most favorite products. I don't know. I'm such a nerd when it comes to satellite and radar. I love everything about satellite and radar. I'm gonna have to ban those numbers. I'm gonna have to put them in the hidden messages. I'm literally that's what I'm gonna have to do. So if somebody's celebrating their birthday of that specific number, they ain't gonna be able to say it. I heard a train. I hope it ain't over here. You know what they say when you hear a train. I'm a weather enthusiast. You can't just say that out of nowhere. When you say I hear a train, I think about something different. Let's see, HMOND here. Yeah, the HMON's stalling out super early, so that's probably just gonna go. I wouldn't be shocked if this just goes almost due north from here on out. I'd be a little surprised if it goes due west. Ooh. Yeah, still outflow dominant. We don't have any wind shear, so these green pixels are probably just going to stay as light green. If this was a better day, like tomorrow, and this was in Southwest Texas, I would definitely be watching this for strong tornado potential. But in this case, if you're in Granfield, southwestern Oklahoma, watch out for a 60, 65 mile an hour wind gust and 1.25 inch hail as this heads off to the west-southwest. There's not a lot of wind shear at all over here. The more east it goes, the more wind shear it gets into, but that wind shear is still very weak. Like you're not technically in a favorable tornadic environment. Yeah, wind shear is a little bit better further east. Still pretty bad. 50 0 to 1. The 0 to 3 is a little bit higher, 150 0 to 3. So the lower levels are very weak, but the mid levels are a little stronger. So what that might result in is we could indeed see a little velocity couplet form on this storm, but those winds that are rotating in the mid levels probably won't be rotating so much towards the lower levels because of that weaker wind shear towards the 0 to 1 kilometer. Okay, a little surprised that it is continuing due northwest here on the HMOND. You can see that's category 3 most likely at that point, heading right for eastern Jamaica. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. Round it up. That would round down to 95 knots, so technically not actually a major hurricane at that point. because I'm pretty sure 100 knots is 115, so this should be 110 Cat 2 technically, if we're being very technical. But NHC would probably end up classifying that as a major hurricane, considering it would be a low millibar, and the chance of it actually being that exact knots, I doubt it. But either way, that's a high in Cat 2, low in Cat 3. One or the other. Just depends on what the NHC would deem it. All right, let's go to the HAFSB. So this looks like another scenario where it's going to stall out away from Jamaica and then probably head right into Jamaica. So I'd imagine it's going to kind of stick around here southwest of Haiti and then eventually take a bit of a sharper west-southwest turn. And then after a sharp west-southwest turn, it starts moving a little bit more northwest, hits eastern Jamaica, and then turns right into Cuba. A little bit more east than what the 12Z did. I don't know. The 18Z is substantially more east. Like that is a big difference. That is a big difference. Not only in positioning, which is very important, but also in intensity. Like I said, I really don't think our hurricane models have the best hold on this yet. I really think the Google AI ensembles are the more accurate model / ensemble at the moment, the most accurate thing, which is really what the NHC is listening to. We'll have to see at 11 o'clock, which I will be up for but not streaming for. We'll have to see what the NHC goes with. Let's see here. So, Saturday. I gotta look at this real quick, y'all. Okay. Tricky. Wait, what? Okay, never mind. That thing's completely screwed up. Never mind, never mind. I was going to show you this, but the model run is literally... Uh-oh. Now I did indeed just get an error. Are we good? I definitely just got a lag spike right there. Yeah. Yeah, my stream froze for 2 seconds. We're good, though. We're good. 2-second freeze, I'm okay with that. Just maybe not any longer than 2 seconds. Alright, back to the HMON. See what that's up to. Still no new frames on that. So we're going to wait to see what those models show. They did go toward possible 70 mile an hour winds for our storm here, but you could clearly see this looks like an outflow dominant storm. Very clear, more dominant westerly winds here, pushing the storm to that Boeing shape on velocities. So, yeah, 65, 70 mile an hour winds definitely possible going into Granfield. And then 1.25-inch hail, that's going to be with your hail core back up here, also moving off to the southeast. Tornado threat, I still don't think is very high. We'll keep an eye on it, but yeah, just if you're in Granfield, Oklahoma, stay away from doors and windows, and you'll be fine. Tornado threat is still very low out here, but it is something you want to keep an eye on there. New frames here on HMON model run. Okay, plot twist. That's a complete plot twist because the other HMON went northeast. The new HMON went southwest. A plot twist and a half on that one. Look at that. So it goes up and looks like it's going to make landfall on Jamaica and then just says, nope, I'm going southwest. Wow. Okay, interesting. We'll see if any other models follow that. Here comes the HAFSB, probably going to have a rapid intensification period here with that tight core already down to 954 millibar there. That's probably going to intensify rapidly on this model run. HAFSA, are you following closely at all? A little close, but still not as tight of a core there, but it is following close to the HAFSB. Following close. Now, how about the horrible H-Wharf? Not so horrible right now. Look at that. So that's definitely, the H-Wharf is for sure. The H-Wharf and the H-Mon have definitely trended more towards the European solution with this cycle. We'll have to see if that stays the case over the next few runs. So we'll monitor that run, but the main one I'm really curious about now is the H-Mon because that goes considerably more to the southwest than the run we had earlier. Anything weather-wise for me? Let's see. Maybe some rain? Nothing interesting. Yeah, some rain. I'm sure you're excited for that. Some rain Saturday night into Sunday morning, and then more rain Sunday. Actually lingering rain for a while. You probably have rain chances for a couple days here. Heaviest rain will definitely be Sunday, though. But nothing like severe weather. No snowstorms yet, but that's probably going to change going into December and especially into early next year. Again, don't expect much in November. That goes for everybody. Don't expect much snow in November, unless maybe North Dakota and possibly the lake effect areas. But November should be relatively inactive snowstorm-wise. It somehow rained the entire day Saturday. That is terrible. That is terrible. I hate rainy days. If it's gonna rain, I'm one who's, gonna want severe weather and want to chase it. I don't like the dreary, light, drizzly, rainy days. Caleb, I'm really thinking like mid to late December is probably gonna. There's a very real chance we have like a good chunk of the U.S. having a chance for a white Christmas. Because our winter, really this winter should start popping off towards mid-December all the way till early March. Now watch Christmas Day be like 80s across the entire US. But hopefully we get at least hopefully somebody in like the central and eastern coastline gets a white Christmas. Because normally the white Christmas chances, those stay up in like North Dakota, northern Montana, Canada, New York. Hopefully we get one going towards the central US. It's not impossible, it's just November looks like a more inactive month for snow. That's what it looks like. Has my stream really been lagging that bad? I think the YouTube player is very much glitchy. Hold on, I'm gonna go check on YouTube real quick. Because there could be a setting wrong. Let's see here. Yeah, I see it. It's not like buffering and completely stopping, but it's skipping frames. It's definitely skipping some frames. I can have a couple. I can do a couple things to try and fix that. Let's see. Here, I'm going to disappear for a bit, and I'm going to attempt to fix that at least somewhat. So give me, like, give me 1 minute, literally, right about a minute. All right, we'll see if that does anything. Let me know if it's skips a lot more or any less. That's the bad thing about being a YouTuber. You have to do so much. You got to know how to make graphics. You got to be able to fix your own computer, figure out a bunch of other things, and then whatever else you're doing just for being on YouTube. So it's a lot of multitasking. If that doesn't work, then there's a few other things I could do off of stream that will help. New advisory, yeah, I don't expect anything to be different really. Like I said, this is an intermediate advisory, so it's just a location and intensity update. No, looks like they might have dropped the millibar by 1. Okay, let's update that. 45 mile an hour sustained, 1,000 millibar. Are we still north-northwest at, like, 2? Yep. So they literally just dropped 1 millibar off. That's it. Not really anything big there. Oh, here's something big. Hurricane hunters report that the center of Melissa has reformed north than previously anticipated, or previously, the previous advisory. A little north than what was expected. Yeah, I don't really know exactly why they went toward possible with this, looking at the background environment, but alright. You do you. Let's go over to... Why did you two disappear up there? See, this is what I'm talking about. Watch this. I can fix both of this easily. I think. Nope. Okay, there's 2 things fixed. Now can we get the third one fixed? Oh, ta-da! Oh, man. Sometimes I really hate these overlays. Alright, now what was I doing? I forgot what I was gonna go look over. Ah, yes, the center. See how that compares to the last advisory. Alright. Newest advisory, last advisory. Okay, give it a second to load. Don't be starting to misbehave on me, computer, please. Oh man, that is a cursed. That's a cursed looking cone now. Yeah, so there's where your center reformed. So your center was down in here. They've now located it north up there. How old is my computer? 3? 2? 2, 3 years old? Somewhere around there? I think it's about 3 years old. Yeah, so that is the new center that I was talking about with the Recon pass. So right up here. We previously were saying it was down in here, but Recon found it to be a little bit more north up there. So this whole cone will probably, at the 11 o'clock, it's probably going to all shift more to the west like that. We'll have to see exactly what that 11 o'clock advisory looks like. But here's the H-bond, and it's still, we are into Monday, and it, I mean, still about the same intensity, borderline low in cat, but this would probably be low in cat 3, more definitely on a major hurricane there. So low in cat 3, and it's still just hanging around the same general area for about 3 days here. It arrives Sunday morning, and we're into Monday night. I say 3 days because likely another day or two on this model run, it's still going to be around Jamaica. All right, what about HAFSB here? Yeah, yep, to be expected, to be expected. 931 Cat 5, to be expected. Is HAFSA following at least a little close here? Bigger I, but it is indeed following similar. And how about the horrible H-Wharf, which seems to have not initiated that bad this time? Yeah, almost the worst case scenario. 928 millibar, Cat 5, barely south of Jamaica. We'll see where all these go from where they're at right now. We'll see what the next few frames have to show. I want to at least see them until they end up hitting or just missing Jamaica. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to refresh this stuff here. We got a new mesoscale discussion. I want to see what it is. Brief tornado, 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, and 2-inch hail, all possible across western Texas. 40% chance of a severe watch. Yep, and look at that very slow movement off to the northwest. This is literally like a worst case scenario right here. Slow approach as a category 3, strengthens to cat 4, very close to the island, and then before it really starts hitting the island, it strengthens to cat 5, slows down and just hugs the southern side of Jamaica until eventually it probably makes landfall in either south central or southwestern Jamaica. That's like the worst case scenario right there. Oh, H-Von, also landfall there as probably a weak category 3. Definitely on the lower side. Definitely one of the better scenarios. Still a bad scenario, but it is one of the better scenarios to pan out. Unfortunately, still would result in catastrophic rainfall and impacts, but wouldn't be as rough as a Cat 5 like the HAFSB has. Or rather, the H-Wharf has. Well, actually, I think we could probably consider the H-Mon an outlier, now that I think of it, because HAFSA and B have Cat 5s in, as well as the H-Wharf. The H-Wharf has a landfall Cat 5, so We'll see what HAFSB continues with. It's HAFSA. Confusing, I know. HAFSB still continuing his Cat 5 there. But I'm curious if it makes landfall. Because the last one was substantially closer to Jamaica, and thus it made landfall. But this one is substantially more east, so maybe it just gets dragged right out. Maybe it just gets dragged right out back up into Cuba. Right back up to the northeast. My computer's starting to bug out over here. It's gotten slower. You're not about to blow up, computer. Why are you slowing down on me? It probably just needs a refresh. When's the last time I've turned it off? Operating system. When is the last time I've turned you off? Ooh, almost a week ago. Yeah, that probably... Gracious day. Never mind, almost 2 weeks ago. That will be probably the reason. I'm definitely gonna have to completely turn off my computer after this stream, or it's probably gonna start screaming at me. I try to turn it off like at least once a week, but I guess I have forgotten. Cat 5 has never been expected from the NHC, but a Category 5 is definitely a very real likelihood still. Where do you find that, Task Manager? Go to Task Manager, go to Performance, and then go to your CPU uptime. Which is found through the CPU, obviously. Stay alive for 11 p.m. update. Just like I said yesterday, it's not that bad just yet. That will probably... I'll probably end up... if I do stream Saturday, it's probably going to be... Or no, Sunday. If Sunday's a live stream, it will probably be near the 11 o'clock update. So the plan is tomorrow, I'll have a video out between 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern. Won't rule out a stream later. If I feel like doing a stream, I might do a video. I will do a video between 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Maybe a stream later, depends how I feel. Saturday, live stream at 6 p.m. Eastern. Sunday will either be no stream or a late stream. And then Monday, we'll just see. Yeah, so you just crossed 1 week, Legacy. Just crossed 1 week of uptime. See if my computer's speeding up a little bit. Nope, it's still slow. What I'll try to do is I'll try to just deal with it until tonight and then shut it off completely overnight. No, hibernate/sleep mode does not count as a shut off. You gotta completely turn it off. Yep, look at that. The H-Warp literally just has like a stalling out, or not stalling out, but a very slow moving Cat 5. Yep, see all my other stuff just disappeared. Time, poof, disappeared. Let's refresh. I'm going to switch over to this scene. Better. A little bit better. But still that time's gone, so... Yeah, my computer is bugging. Good thing I'm not going to be live for too much longer. It is bugging. It's actually Streamlabs that is bugging. So what I have to do is I have to do that. And that. See if that fixes anything. Oh, they're coming back slowly. Oh, almost. Nope. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to refresh my computer. Hey, did the stream lag at all though? In the last couple minutes, is it still glitching? Outside of all the other stuff that's starting to spark up over here. There's a clock, but that ain't the right clock. Yeah, temperatures are really good. It's just the fact that I messed with stuff whilst being live, and that's a no-no. After I refresh my computer, it will all be fine. If it ain't, I'll give it the good smack, and that will be fine. I'll just kick my computer. Yeah, you shouldn't do that one. Yeah, it looks like the HAFS A and B are going to be very close to landfall, but might not actually make landfall there. So I'll see what that stuff has. Yeah, they took off the Tor possible tag. Good idea. Good idea. And they decreased the hail threat and wind threat. I wouldn't rule out a tornado completely. It looked a little better there on that newest frame. So I'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, we're not going to stay alive for much longer. I'm going to turn off my computer in like 10 minutes. Because it's not too happy. It looks like the HAFSB is probably going to keep it offshore. And the HAFSA looks like it's probably going to follow very closely with that. Oh, there's the SPC map. That turned back on. Oh, things are starting to pop back up again. They're happy. Okay, there you go. There you go. All the overlays just popped back on. Yes, I use sleep mode a lot. Probably too much. Check the CMC model. Let's see what that has. I gotta zoom out for that. Oh yeah, I did see this one. Yeah, that's not a likely scenario. The track is not that far off from a possibility, but the intensity is very far off. I very much do not anticipate that intensity to be right pretty much in any way. So, takeaway from the 18Z models, H4F has a very, very catastrophic and high-end scenario with a Category 5 very slowly moving over southern Jamaica. H-Bond is almost considered an outlier in the sense that it is weaker, still low-end Category 3, so still a major hurricane and hits Jamaica, but might be considered an outlier due to its intensity being substantially weaker than others. HAFSB and A both have a Category 5, but both seemingly are going to be able to keep it offshore of Jamaica. And that might just be a bit of a bias from these two models. Yesterday, we saw both of them go near or sub 900 millibar. And in this case, both of them may be too far northeast. So really not a good idea of what's going to happen here from any of our 18Z hurricane models. So I don't really trust any of them, to be honest. But yeah, just a little bit shorter stream today compared to yesterday. Again, content tomorrow will be a video between 4 and 5 p.m. Eastern. Possibly a stream later. We'll see. Saturday will be a stream at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Sunday is 50-50. Either no content or a late stream. And then Monday we'll go from there because that's too far out. We'll have to see. We're just going to take it day by day. So again, reiterating the plans for the next few days. Video tomorrow between 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern, possibly a live stream later. Saturday, live stream at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Sunday, no content or a live stream late. And then Monday, we'll just have to see. Who texted me? No, stupid spam. Alrighty, but yeah, that's going to be it for this stream. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, share the stream and the channel with your family, friends, social media. It's really appreciated. And consider hitting that subscribe button so you know when I go live or upload a video. That's just my plans for the next 2 to 3 days or so. And yeah, I will see you guys in tomorrow's video at 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. Just depends exactly when I get free, but it will probably be somewhere in there. Is really that's like the normal upload time for me. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow between 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna go ahead and switch to the outro screen. Let's see if this thing's bugged. That's bugged. Okay, let's try that again. The overlay is bugged on the bottom, but I think I can fix that. Ta-da! My goodness. Is that a tornado warning? That is indeed a tornado warning as I'm ending. How about that? How about that? It is just perfect timing. Perfect timing. Well, we're going to end under a tornado warning because, like I said, this isn't coverage. So I'll keep an eye on that. If I deem it fit, I may come back on for coverage. Likely not. I highly do not anticipate that. But just be in your safe spot there if you're in that tornado warning. That's just east of Granfield in Texas. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your night. I'll catch you guys tomorrow at, that is in southwestern Oklahoma, by the way. Just east of Granfield, southwestern Oklahoma. Make sure you're in your safe spot. I'll catch you guys tomorrow between 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you much for my chat. Thank you everybody for being here. Once again, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and share the stream and the channel with your family, friends, social media. It's greatly appreciated. I, again, will catch you guys tomorrow. Stay safe. Watch the severe weather and the tropics. And I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Have a great rest of your night. Good. I got to get to the outro music. Goodbye. Stay safe, rest of your weather in the tropics. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you much for on chat. Have a great rest of your night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.